Hey, Forrest here. Nothing like getting paid. And with ICCU's mobile app, I can deposit checks or accept Zelle payments so the money hits my account fast. I just wish there was an app for mowing the rest of these lawns.
Right now, Lithia Ford of Boise is buying used vehicles. How much you want for the SUV?
I don't know.
Well, Lithia Ford will give you more than that.
How much more?
More than you think.
I'm not thinking anything.
I'm thinking you might get even more than that. See how much more you can get at Lithia Ford of Boise.
When it comes to concrete, we've got you covered. Ropaint.com offers custom concrete coating services for your garage, business, warehouse, and more. And we do it in one day. We are your complete concrete coatings solution.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Joining BJ Rains today is KTVB Sports Director Jay Tust. Check him out on Twitter at KTVB Sports Guy and make sure to check out KTVB.com. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Now here's Jay Tust and BJ Rains with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? Welcome on in another edition of Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. We're doing this on the fly here, and I'm a little behind setting up the graphics in the background, but Jay Tust is here, and I think you're going to notice that Jay Tust always looks good. Now he is going to sound good, Jay. We got the new equipment. I think Jay, I think it's going to sound better. Folks are going to be excited, man. How's it going?
It's going good. Yeah, trying this out today. Thank you, BJ, for hooking it up, and it's really funny. I noticed, you might be running a little bit behind, but it looks like your golf swag is already like good to go for the day. What's that about?
No comment, Jay. I may or may not be heading out after this to the driving range or something. Who knows? It's supposed to be. It's cloudy right now, but it's supposed to be a nice day. I'll be sure to out you anytime you have anything non-work related scheduled in the future, Jay. But yes, I am going to attempt to sneak out and play golf later today. So yes, that's not much going on in Boise State world today. So we're doing the show. We'll get some stuff done. And actually, if I want to be 100%, I guess I can swing it this way. I need to go out to Timberstone and make sure things are in line for the tournament on June 2nd. So we'll go out there and talk to Kelly Christensen and Tad, make sure everything's in line for the tournament, and may or may not check out the course to make sure it's in good shape as well. But June 2nd, 1 month from today, actually is the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament, Jay. So figured I'd go out there and see if I still remember how to hit it or not.
There you go.
You do sound a lot better, by the way. So I think fans are going to – it sounds broadcast quality here. Hopefully no echoes or anything like that. So I'm excited. I finally we finally got enough subscriptions that I could upgrade Jay's audio equipment over there. So
from just the standard computer speaker to this.
I can't believe we made it over a year doing it that way. I should have done this much earlier, but
it feels more official, I'll tell you that.
It does. Turn your mic up a little, though. The audio what number are you at up there?
Hey, I'm
what number are you on the mic? What number are you there?
I don't even know, to be honest
with you.
I'm just trying 7. To hit. Every now and then I'm not a quiet talker, so I don't want to blow anybody's ears
I think that's probably pretty good right there. We'll not like troubleshooting and doing your test on the fly live on the air, but we'll figure it out. This is Bronco Nation News Live. We're in the Cutwater Studios here, BroncoNationNews.com. Every Tuesday and Friday, we get a chance to catch up with Jay Tust, sports director at KTVB, and talk about all things Boise State sports. We're for the next 4 weeks talking about our, I thought the month of May kind of works out nicely. There's 5 days in a week, obviously 4 weeks, no holidays or anything, and so it kind of works out nicely for the next 20 days. I made around even number 20 questions, 20 kind of off-season topic storylines about the football team going into 2023. We talked a lot of basketball the last month, and I thought let's turn our attention back to football for a little while here and look at some key storylines and dive back into the football team. So yesterday we started the series with John Mallory with, I thought, a question that made sense given yesterday's topic. Will the Broncos have a player drafted in the 2024 draft And I guess quickly, Jay, I do want to get your thoughts on the draft, but your gut reaction to that question: Will the Broncos have a player drafted in the 2024 draft 14 years in a row? What's your response to that?
I think so. I think that, going into Leighton's, redshirt junior year, and I remind you, obviously he left early, but I don't know how many people pegged Leighton as a draft pick, let alone a first round draft pick going into that year, right? So this is the time of year where guys start to really make those big jumps and figure things out. And if I was a betting man, I would say that yes, a Bronco will get drafted, but someone is going to have to emerge and make that a little more obvious here over the next 6 to 8 months.
Yeah, I don't know who that. I made a list of 10 guys that I guess you could say like it wouldn't shock you if you saw what they did. I was mentioning Cade Beresford as maybe an option, but I mean, if John Ojukwu couldn't even get drafted, I'm not sure Cade Beresford would. I mean, you mentioned Jonah Dalmas, but I mean, there was 2 or 3 kickers picked in the draft this year. That's not exactly something you'd say was super likely. DJ Schramm, could have another huge year, but he's also a 60-year senior.
Mm-hmm.
Dimitri Washington maybe could go have 10 sacks. Maybe a Cobbs or a Bowens or somebody has a huge year at receiver. George Halani with another 1,000-yard season maybe could be a late-round pick, but with his injury concerns and running back shelf life, I don't know there. I mean, crazy as it sounds, I mean, maybe if Taylon Green goes and has some crazy All-Mountain West season and decides he's ready, he's technically eligible as a redshirt sophomore. So they have a lot of guys, Jay, but there's not like an obvious guy where you go, it's going to be him.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right on that there, BJ. And I think you look around and you've kind of labeled some of the guys that should be in the mix. If I was going to say any one of them, I mean, if George Halani and Ashton Jeanty can have this nice balance and they can stay healthy and they can both have big productive seasons, it feels like that might be a guy that could certainly be in the mix, get drafted, George Halani. It's kind of crazy though, BJ. You look back, man, and as you're watching endless amounts of the NFL draft, kudos to the people that just sit through that whole entire thing without much more of without really a dog in the fight, other than just seeing which college kid is going to go to their NFL team. For me, it's a different experience because all I'm doing is tracking Boise State players, and I'm pretty sure you're the same way, VJ. But as you kind of sit there and watch, and you're like, oh, when was the last time this happened, or how long has it been since this happened? And
yeah,
Boise State is an offense that since 2000 is the second most productive scoring offense in all of college football. I believe it's only Oklahoma averaging more points per game than the Boise State Broncos on offense. And when you look at like that and their draft production, you would think like, okay, that means they've put a lot of offensive guys in the league. And it's not necessarily the case, at least not through the NFL draft, and certainly not high in the NFL draft. I went back and I looked, and I think, going back to like the Austin Pettis and Titus Young draft, there have only been 3 or 4 skill position players on offense that have been selected higher than like the 5th round in the NFL draft from Boise State. So,
wow.
You look at, off the top of my head, I'm just going Alexander Madison, obviously the 2 that I just mentioned, and Doug Martin as well in there. But even Titus Young, Austin Pettis, Doug Martin, I mean, we're talking about the 11 and 12 NFL drafts. So those were even, over a decade ago now. So who's going to be the next Boise State football player on offense, whether it be a running back, a wide receiver, or even throw a quarterback in there for that matter, that's going to get drafted high in the NFL draft, because it doesn't happen very often, in all honesty. I mean, history says it.
Yeah, I think Ashton Jeanty has a shot here in a couple of years, but obviously isn't eligible. Maybe some other younger players, but that's one of the reasons why, Jay, it's a little scary looking at that Boise State defense. Usually, at least as a freshman or sophomores or whoever, you can find some NFL talent on the starting 11, and that's one of the reasons why I think a lot of people are a little nervous and interested to see how it shakes out, because not to say that NFL talent equals a strong defense, but obviously the better players you have, the more comfortable you feel, the star power, and they've got a lot of good players. I'm not sure in terms of the great NFL type players, and especially with that early schedule, which is one of our topics, in terms of the September schedule. But early on, man, that is one of the reasons where it does correlate a little bit, where the lack of NFL talent on defense means maybe it's going to be a little bit of a scary start.
It could be. I will say one position that I'm really excited to see come along are those linebackers. I think Andrew Simpson is going to be a star for this defense. Dyshawn Misa is probably going to come on pretty strong this year after redshirting last year and really getting sparse playing time so that they could preserve his redshirt last year. And then obviously DJ Schramm coming back, who was super productive and durable for the Broncos. I mean, statistically, DJ had one of the best defensive seasons in Boise State football history. And I know like there's a lot of people saying like, wait, what? No way. But when you look at his production of over 100 tackles, he had a couple of games with over 3-4 tackles for loss. He was incredibly productive last year for the Boise State football team at that linebacker spot. So it feels like that could definitely be a position of strength for the Broncos, despite the fact they're losing a kid like Zeke Noah. I think they rebound and they have a chance to get deeper and maybe even better at that linebacker spot this year, which is going to be good because it's going to be really tough for them to replace what they lost up front on the defensive line. Although I do have confidence in guys like Herbert Gums to really make a big step forward this year too.
And both those topics, the D-line linebackers, are two future questions in the 20-question series here today. We're going to talk about the cornerbacks, and obviously you see Mark Hill-Reed coming back from injury, and there's a lot of intrigue at the corner position. We will talk about that as today's topic here in just a minute. But first, if you're looking for that perfect Mother's Day gift, how about a sound story? MySoundStory.com. You get 15% off using the promo code BNN15. If you're looking for that perfect Mother's Day gift, I've got it for you. This is an hour-long interview. I can do it. John Mallory, Mike Prater, David McKenzie. Well, professional recording studio, and we can interview your mom about her life and preserve her voice, preserve her life story forever for you guys to pass down from generation to generation. Or if you'd rather have yourself, your brothers and sisters interviewed and present it to your mom on Mother's Day, and you can talk about what she means to you and present that to her and have those memories and stories forever as well. We can do that as well. You can give a gift certificate as well. Couldn't be easier. MySoundStory.com. It's a new concept here in the Boise market. Would love to help you out. And so MySoundStory.com, you scroll down a little bit, and then you click View All Interviewers, and then you scroll down to the Boise, Idaho tab, and there's available right there for you. So let me know if you have any questions on it, but it's a really cool thing to present. I wish I could hear my grandpa's voice again and hear his story. It would be awesome for me. And so you still have that chance. You can do it at mysoundstory.com. A couple other great sponsors we want to welcome. Again, Lean Feast. So excited about Lean Feast, Meridian. Awesome meal prep service. Me and my wife went in there yesterday and got some meals for the next few days. I mean, I was 2 minutes in the microwave and I was eating surf and turf yesterday for lunch. I mean, it's pretty incredible how they do it. You go through the line, you pick whatever you want. It's not some pre-packaged, pre-made thing. You go in there and pick what you want for your veggies, your carbs, your meat options, and it couldn't be easier, couldn't be more affordable. It's cheaper than going to a regular fast food place, and it's is healthy as well. So we're going to see here in the month of May how much weight I can lose on Lean Feast, and I highly recommend it. Dave is an awesome guy that runs it. They've got some NIL deals with Taylon Green and Ashton Genty, maybe a basketball one coming shortly. So supporter of local athletics, support them. Lean Feast in Meridian right there on Eagle Road. Check it out. leanfeast.com/Meridian. We are in the Cutwater Spirits mobile studios. More than 30 flavors of premixed premium cocktails. Pick yours up at your local gas station or a grocery store. The back patio, the garage, the basement. If you got that ugly stained concrete coating, let rowpaint.com take care of it for you. ROEpaint.com. Rowpaint.com. 5 times stronger than epoxy. Home of the one-day install there at rowpaint.com. Check them out. You will not be disappointed. And Lithia Ford of Boise, you won't be disappointed in them as well. We're so happy with our F-150 that we purchased from Lithia Ford of Boise. You can do the same. You can go check out their full inventory of vehicles at lithiafordboise.com. And for some reason, not sure why, you don't want to buy from them, you can go to their drive your used car in there, and they'll make you a cash offer on the spot for your used car. The appraiser's ready to go, even if you don't want to buy from them. So get more information, view the full inventory of vehicles, lithiafordboise.com. Jay, before we get into our topic today on the corners, I do want to give you a chance to make a quick thought on the NFL draft on Saturday. You got Skinner and Matlock. We talked most of the show with Johnny yesterday about it, going to their respective teams. And then 4 guys, Ojukwu and Tyreek Jones going to the Titans, Caleb Biggers to the Browns, and George Charles to the Raiders. I have not seen anybody else sign yet. Maybe you have, but just the floor is yours, I guess, quickly, if you want to give a thought on the NFL draft and those 6 guys.
I think at the end of the day, probably kind of, we're going to be optimistic because we know these guys, we know their character. And so I think like going into the NFL draft, we were probably pretty optimistic with numbers that we placed on it. But if, being more realistic, it's probably how you could have said this was going to play out. Boise State was going to have 2 guys drafted, hopefully a third. It didn't happen. 2 guys drafted though, and then a handful of guys getting signed as undrafted free agents. And I think 6 is a pretty good number for this program right now. I mean, it certainly shows that they're making a little bit of progress in terms of placing guys back in the NFL. When you do say, BJ, that next year's class could be a little bit leaner, you look around and you're like Tyreek Jones, John Ojukwu, Caleb Biggers, George Tarlis. Those guys were all 6th-year seniors this last year. And so they came back. They made the most of their opportunities. Now they're going on into the NFL. The Broncos don't have quite that many type of guys coming back next season in 2023. So I think it went about as expected, how you think it would play out. As far as, where Scott Matlock is going, the San Diego Chargers, it's a great fit. You and I both know how this goes, BJ. Like, you can't not ask guys where they think they're going to go, but they also can't reply with any type of hint of where they think they're going to go, because you don't want to say like, oh, I want to go to Dallas, or I think I'm going to Dallas, and then the Eagles draft you or something like that, and a week later Eagles fans are going back and being like, why is this guy like Dallas, or whatever, something like that. Now that it's all played out, hopefully he doesn't care that I say this, but talking a little bit with Scott more off the record, he did mention how much he really enjoyed his visit with the Chargers, and whether it be the coach, the scheme, any of that, he just like really felt like it was a good fit. And so in the 5th round, I just happened to be, there with them, and the 5th round Chargers pick goes by and they pass on him then. And the good news was they didn't take a defensive tackle at that point in time. And so you're like, okay, well, when's their pick in the 6th round? And sure enough, at pick 198, when the Ravens are going, his phone rings, and you kind of think, oh man, is it Baltimore? No, the broadcast is probably a little behind reality in the NFL, and it was already the Chargers calling to make sure that Scott wanted to be a Charger. And obviously he was going to say hell yeah to that. And, he wound up at a place that I think he's going to be a really good fit, feel really comfortable. BJ, I got to tell you, man, I was kind of laughing afterwards, though, because we get all these, mundane answers from these Boise State football players for 4, 5, 6 years when they're covering the Boise State when we're covering them at Boise State. Yeah. And moments after the draft, am I allowed just to play this over the mic? Are you
sure?
Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Moments after the NFL draft, I asked Scott, hey man, what type of player are the Chargers getting? And this was his response.
The audio maybe a little bit.
This was his response to that. Okay. And I thought this was amazing.
Straight up killer. I mean, when I put the helmet on, it's a gladiator going into the Coliseum, so I'm coming for souls. I'm going to take a grown man's job. So at the end of the day, I'm going to help them win some football games. And shout out to David Miller and I. We're going to tear some shit.
That's all right. Who cares? We're not. But he said something similar to me when I caught up with him at Topgolf afterwards. A gladiator going into the Coliseum, but I like the I'm coming for souls, and that's kind of what he's saying. Hey,
souls. I'm taking a grown man's job.
I mean, that's basically what it is.
Why couldn't I have just gotten one of those sound bites over the last 5 years for me at Boise State there, Scott?
When I went and talked to JL Skinner, he was as friendly and as nice to me as he's ever been. I mean, he probably had a few drinks in him celebrating his pick, but that was as nice as JL Skinner's ever been to me in 5 years, talking to him yesterday or the Saturday too. So, getting picked, these guys all of a sudden, move on. They change a little bit before they move on. But it was a great quote from Scott. And what was that like, quickly before we move on? But what was that like, kind of being in the room there and seeing all that?
It was BJ, this, you've done it before too. It's cool. Like you get to see a grown man's childhood dreams play out right before your very eyes. And it was a suspenseful day, man. I mean, it did not help that Scott Matlock was the #1 rated defensive tackle on the board, according to ESPN.
Going into the day, right?
For the entire day on Saturday. And it started in the 4th round. And so he was nervous. He was anxious. He tried to stay busy. the Capital 11 building is just unreal, man. They got this really cool golf simulator, and I don't know if I'm supposed to give away how you get into the golf simulator, so I'm just going to say they have a cool golf simulator.
Trapdoor, a famous trapdoor.
Okay,
yeah.
if you want to say that, that's fine. I don't know if I'm supposed to give that information away, but either way, it's a really, really cool place, and they did their best to keep him busy, and Alex Guerrero did a good job as well with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was nervous, he was anxious, and he finally heard his name called, and when that cell phone rang, man, it changed his life. And I will say one more thing about it. I kind of, had an eye on, was watching Scott pretty much the whole day, and he kept checking his phone early in the day, and he kept checking it early in the day. And I would say after like going into the mid 5th round, he kind of put it in his pocket and was, trying to stay busy, whether it was playing, ping pong or again, swinging on the golf simulator or eating some food that Alex Guerrero brought in through some local companies and stuff like that. And it was a cool day, and it was cool to see Scott, have his dreams realized. And as far as JL too, real quick, man, like, yeah, it seems like he slipped, and I think that his injury probably hurt him a little bit. But he is a determined young man. He is an emotional young man. I don't know if he needs any more fuel for his fire, but if he does, this will certainly be it. And prior to the draft, I asked him what's your first purchase? Because that's, you kind of got to have to ask those questions too.
Sure.
He basically said, I'm saving it all except for I'm buying my mom a car, and I'm gonna give her a little cash to go out, to feel a little comfortable with. And I would literally expect no other answer out of JL Skinner than those exact words.
Yeah. Well, when we did our interview with him, he wanted to go in the sunlight so his necklace would bling a little bit. He said, "Can we go move back into the
I also would expect that out of JL. I love it, man."
I said, "Yeah, no worries. We can make that happen." Hey, yeah, shout out Travis Hawks, David Gardner. They're big BNN supporters and awesome building out there. And speaking of Travis Hawks, the Blue and Orange Store, theblueandorangestore.com. Check them out. We're going to talk cornerbacks here in just a second. Who is starting against Washington at cornerback? We're going to get Jay Tust thoughts in just a second. Theblueandorangestore.com. Free shipping. Any order over $40. And if you're in the Boise area, just go to the Boise Town Square Mall there on the second floor. Idaho Central Credit Union, ICCU.com. The best in mobile e-branch online banking is Idaho Central Credit Union. There's a branch pretty much on every corner, but you can get more information at ICCU.com. And if you need a new job, Transportation Compliance Service can help you out, transcomservice.com. Whether it's the big rig on your screen, the Amazon truck in your neighborhood, any kind of delivery service, they help you with the DOT permits, the overweight permits, any of the things you need to get out there towing that first load. They can help you do it in no time. Check them out, transcomservice.com. You need a dentist? How about Boise Dentistry Co.? BoiseDentistryCo.com. They make going to the dentist an enjoyable experience, and it's usually not a fun time taking my kids, but they love going to see Dr. Meinert and his staff. 5 locations across the Treasure Valley. Check them out, BoiseDentistryCo.com, and it's full family dentistry, so the whole family's welcome at Boise Dentistry Co. United Commercial Insurance, business insurance. They make it easy. They can write business policy insurance in 44 states around the country. Check them out. Quick call could save you hundreds of dollars. 229-8222, UnitedCommercialInsurance.com. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. 13 locations in the state of Idaho. Find one near you. Download that new Ridley's app in your smartphone and get up to 40% off on some deals. So check them out. Ridley's Family Markets, shopridleys.com. And our friend Matt Bauscher at Bauscher Real Estate. Every time I refresh Instagram, I see a sold sign on one of Matt Bauscher's Instagram posts. The number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt Bauscher and his team. Check them out. BauscherRealEstate.com. Okay, Jay, in the final 5 minutes or so we got left here, I want to get to today's question. Cornerback. You lose Caleb Biggers. Tyreek LaBeouf gone as well. We didn't get to see Kaniho in the spring due to an injury. Didn't get to see Markel Reed again. I kind of look at it. I got 4 candidates, and maybe I'm off here, Jay. I don't know where you stand, but I got Markel Reed, Kainoe Kaniho. I got Jalen Clark, and I got Amarian McCoy, the JUCO transfer. Those are kind of the top 4 guys that I see. If there is not one of those 4 guys starting, and no disrespect to Deontay Thornton or some of these other guys that are on the list, but if it's not McCoy, Clark, Kaniho, or Reed against Washington, I would be a little surprised at this point. I guess the transfer portal, I think, is closed now, but I don't know if they could still add somebody in the offseason, or I guess guys are in the portal, but they could still pick somewhere else, I guess. But you can't add your name to the portal, I think, at this point. But how do you handicap it? Reed, Kaniho, McCoy, Clark, am I off there, or are those the 4 candidates for 2 spots?
I think you're right on, and losing Caleb Biggers is going to hurt because I think he did play at a pretty high level for the most part last season. And I will say this about the Boise State depth at cornerback. It felt like there were a lot of years there where like a Jonathan Moxey would leave or something like that, and you'd be like, man, who on this roster could possibly step into a role like that? And it seems that currently the Broncos have options, right? And Kaano'i Kaneo has been an interesting player because he played really, really early in his Boise State career, and he's played quite a bit. He's dealt with a couple injuries, so he's been in and out of the lineup. But he's a guy there, whether he's starting or right off the bench as a second CB2 or whatever, if you will. He's a guy that's really going to push people and the starters to be better if he's not already a starter. When Markel Reed is healthy, it's been really tough to keep him off the field. It seems like if Markel is good to go for the season opener, fully healthy, it seems like one of the starting jobs will be his. And I can't ignore what Jalen Clark did. I know that it was in the bowl game and he was playing due to injuries and things like that, but he offers some intriguing size. I think he could be certainly an attractive option to play some big time minutes, big time snaps, or whatever you want to say, at that cornerback spot. And as far as McCoy, you bring him up. He played a lot in the spring game, and he had some good moments in the spring.
And we heard a lot about him during the spring, in part because a lot of these guys weren't out there, but and he got a lot of playing time. But we heard a lot of good things about him in the spring.
Yeah, so I mean, they really have some nice options there at that specific position. And while I don't know if they got a 6-year senior that can be as tough and productive and durable as Caleb Biggers, they really do have some nice options there. And it's not like in the past, where there have been years where once the starting cornerback or two leaves, you're like, man, how on earth are they going to figure this out?
Yeah, no doubt about it. A couple of things that surprised me looking at the stats on this, Jay. I did forget, by the way, Jalen Clark has one career start, and it was in the Frisco Bowl because Kaneo missed the Frisco Bowl due to an injury. So Jalen Clark got, and again, I also didn't realize this, or I guess I just didn't, forgot about it. 6'2", 200 for Jalen Clark. He is a big corner at 6'2", 200 pounds. So I think Jalen Clark is an interesting guy. You mentioned McCoy. He had 4 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 4 pass breakups last year. At Laney College, 35 tackles. And 2 other things, Kaneo, 17 starts the last 2 seasons for Kaneo. He had 11 starts last year, 27 games played, but 17 starts for Kaneo the last 2 years. So he's played a lot of football. And I guess I should have put this together, realized it, but I mean, dude, Markel Reed, only 6 career starts. I mean, we talk a lot about Markel Reed. He's only started 6 games, had the season opener. He was finally had worked his way back all last season, kind of like the talk's going to be all this fall camp. He's back. He's ready to go. And then first game against Oregon State, suffers the injury. Only played 5 games the year before having the season-ending injury.
But so again, started those games like down at UCF. He was one of the cornerbacks on the field trying to shut down Dylan Gabriel.
Yep. Had a shoulder surgery as well after the 2020 season. 3 surgeries in 3 years, 24 career games played, but again, only 6 starts. So I agree with you. And I, if healthy and if productive, yes, he's probably their best corner, but I mean, it's just kind of tough to pencil in Markel Reed. I like the guy, great guy, and I'm rooting for him. But I mean, and I'm sure he's ready to prove people like me wrong. And I'm not saying he can't, but for a guy that's played in, 6 games the last 2 years, it's hard to say you're expecting him to play in 14 games next year.
Right. I mean, I can agree with that. Markel, as you just kind of alluded to there, outstanding character, funny kid. I think that's another reason why coaches like him on the field, is just because of what he brings in those regards. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if Boise State, cornerbacks, I think that they often lead the team in interceptions and stuff like that. And their way that defenses play, that maybe safeties have more picks or whatever. But can they get more playmaking ability, maybe those game-changing types of plays out of that position next year? Because you look at the turnovers they forced, and, Boise State certainly has a lot to replace or try to duplicate. And I guess what I mean by that is J.L. Skinner had 4 picks. Ezekiel Noah had 2 picks. Those guys are no longer here. Rodney Robinson is a guy that's probably going to play more than ever so far. Throughout his collegiate career, he did have 3 interceptions last year. But behind those guys, you had a guy like Gabe Hunter that had 2 picks. I mean, awesome that Gabe was able to get those. I think it's going to be tough for him to maybe duplicate that again.
Yeah, that would be something if he had 2 picks again.
So outside of that, you look at the cornerback spot, and Jalen Carter had 1 pick, and Caleb Biggers had 1 pick, and that's kind of it from that spot last year. So it'll be interesting to see, again, if they can kind of find a way to maybe increase their game-changing playmaking ability at that spot in 2023. And man, right out of the gate, it is not gonna be easy going up against Michael Penix. And even the following week, UCF as another really talented quarterback that's a dual sport athlete. I don't know if you saw that clip a few weeks ago where he was playing in a UCF baseball game and he left when they were up like 10 runs in the 7th inning and took a golf cart across campus and was ready to go for the spring football game.
Yeah, another time where he took a private plane after the football workout or something took a private plane up to like North Carolina to play in a series or something too. So, so as we wrap it up, Jay, I guess I'll put it to you bluntly here on May 2nd, 2023. If you had to, lay down $5 on, which two guys are starting against Washington, I'm going to go Markel Reed if he's healthy. I just think he has the track record. He has the experience. I think Markel Reed, one of the spots is his. And then I think it's a battle for me between Clark and Kaniho. And I'm going to lean Kaniho based on the experience. I'm going to go Reed and Kaniho, but it would not shock me at all if Jalen Clark is a starter this year.
Yeah, just to be different than you, I'll go Reed and Clark. Clark's out of the 253. That's my hometown. It's Tacoma, Washington. And I just think that he had a little opportunity to taste what it was like to play in a game last year. He really did have an outstanding bowl game. I know he had the pick, but he also had like 3 or 4 total pass breakups in that game. I think that he offers some intriguing size, and maybe you throw him over into the boundary and you let Reed and Kaniho kind of roam the field side and allow those guys to rotate in and stay a little bit fresh. Because like I said, once again, against UW, you are going to need 4 cornerbacks to combat the pace and passing attack that the Huskies will present in that season opener.
Well, that's question 19. We'll continue the next 4 weeks to kind of look at some of the key storylines facing the Boise State football team. Don't forget to sign up for the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament. Join Coach Leon Rice, Tyson Degenhart, RJ Keene. We got Tim Duryea, Mike Burns, Sean Garris, the volleyball coach, Coach Schultz, the softball coach. We're adding coaches and players daily. We got some football players as well. DJ Schramm, as we talked about, Riley Smith, Alexander Tubner. Actually, Kanoe Kaniho is going to be playing in the tournament, so you can see him out there as well. Jonah Dalmas as well, and a lot of former players, Winston Venable, Tyler Rassa, Thomas Spurbeck, Ryan Winterswick, Vinny Peretta, and then who else we got? I just had another foursome the other day. Oh, Kent Riddle's playing as well. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to it. So join the Bronco Nation News team. Jay Tust, our biggest celebrity of all in the tournament, June 2nd out at Timberstone Golf Course. And again, Lithia Ford of Boise giving away a hole-in-one. You can win a brand new, well, they're not giving away the hole-in-one, but they're giving away a Bronco Sport with a hole-in-one in the Bronco Nation News Golf Tournament. The morning session is pretty much sold out. The afternoon session has some spots available, and we'd love to have you. You get a catered lunch. We got Pastry Perfection bringing donuts. R&R Barbecue. We'll have some barbecue samples out there. We got Paddles Up Poke. Dan's going to be out there. Cutwater Spirits providing some beverages. It's going to be an awesome time to help a great cause, as a portion of the proceeds will go to the Idaho Youth Sports Commission. So if you have any gift certificates or raffle items, we would love to have them. If you don't mind helping us out, you want to make a donation, you can't play, we would love any kind of donation item that would be good for the raffle or good just for a gift certificate, or the James has stepped up with some gift certificates, as well as R&R Barbecue and some others. So we'd love to have the community help out. And again, we are selling tickets, Jay, $50 if you don't want to play golf, but you want to come have lunch, hang out in the social hour, meet Coach Rice, and get some raffle tickets. I think that comes with $20 worth of raffle tickets as well, and you get lunch and you get to hang out. So those are $50 if you're interested in that. So we got some foursomes left in the afternoon. We got a month from today is the tournament. Looking forward to it. Jay, appreciate you for being out there as well. Jay has agreed to take the ceremonial first tee shot with all 160 players huddled around hole one watching. So that'll be fun, Jay.
I better get out and start swinging the club then. This is not going to be pretty. I'll provide entertainment regardless, I guess, but probably not going to be too pretty. So,
well,
remember the first thing you said to me this morning is how we're going to talk about it. How are we going to talk for a half hour?
Well, when you got 10 sponsors, that helps kill a little bit of time. But no, I think I tell you that every once in a while we go way over. So I apologize to Camille and the family for going over. And we'll do it again on Friday. Let me look real quick at Friday's question on our list. Tomorrow,
5 young stars that are going to break out.
I thought that'd be a good one for you, maybe for a Friday. We're going to talk special teams tomorrow. We got assistant coaches with Prater on Thursday. I think so. A lot of good. Was my list okay, Jay? I think the list was all right. I didn't get much feedback. I asked, guys, give me your feedback, and the email inbox was empty. So I said, okay, it must be perfect. We're gonna stick with these 20. So, Jay, have a great rest of your day. Tuesdays, Jay's off on KTVB, guys. He does this to help out Bronco Nation News, but it's an off day for him, and so we appreciate you giving up your time, Jay, on an off day. Go get back to Camille and the family, and we will be talking to you soon on Friday. But tomorrow, I think John Mallory is actually going to double dip this week and help me out tomorrow as well on a Wednesday. So if any news breaks or anything, we'll have it to you. We're waiting on that football TV schedule, hopefully in a couple weeks here. But news to come. Otherwise, 9 a.m. tomorrow. Go subscribe to the YouTube channel at the bottom of the screen. Subscribe. And if you're not watching on YouTube, it's just youtube.com/Bronco Nation News. Have a great day. We'll talk to you later. And yes, Jay Tust, I am going to play golf. See you at Timberstone, Bronco Nation News, BroncoNationNews.com.